Hi everyone, my name is David Clark and I'd like to welcome you to this short presentation. Now before we get started, you see this drink, this shoe, and a cell phone? Which of these items do you think could provide you with stable retirement income for the rest of your life? In a while, I'm going to show you how simple little items like these are providing a select group of retirees with a secure, predictable retirement income that keeps up with or even outpaces inflation. And most importantly, this is often a secure lifetime income that they can't outlive no matter how long that may be. And I'll also show you how you can use this exact same strategy. But first, let me make you a promise. If you pay attention to what you're going to learn over the next few minutes, I guarantee you'll know more about how to make a predictable, constant income and profit than 90% of the people that you know. And this is the information that can be applied to pretty much anybody, including you. In fact, it's maybe the most important information you've ever heard if you want to increase your net worth and your income. And you can start using this information to increase your income as soon as today. So, who's this webinar presentation for? Well, you're in the right place today if you've been burned by the market before and you want to finally uncover how everybody else is still raking in consistent profits and how they're securing the retirement lifestyle income. And if you want to earn profits regardless of the volatility of the market conditions that may lie ahead of us. You know, if you've accepted that pensions and Social Security, it's just not something you can rely on in this day and age. And if and when there is another financial recession, there's a good chance that income benefits may be heavily reduced or even totally stopped. Okay, so big question, who am I? Well, my name's David Clark. I was born in Indiana, and I graduated from Indiana University with a bachelor's in business finance. I now live in O'Fallon, Illinois with my wife Vicki and our 3 sons, Adam, Sean, and Archer. After college, I served in the Army for 15 years as an officer. And as a financial advisor, I hold my Series 7 and Series 66 security licenses and my Illinois insurance licenses. I'm also a proud author of the revolutionary Income for Life Blueprint retirement planning system, and I now dedicate my life to helping people secure their retirement and their future. You may have seen my retirement planning system featured on leading finance and high-profile media sites across the country. Well, I've included just a few of the sites that have featured me here on this slide. Now, I've crammed this webinar full of valuable retirement tips and advice, so I need your full attention. Please turn off your cell phones, turn off all Facebook and your email. Please clear your desk of any distractions so you don't risk missing out on important information. I assure you that you'll be happy that you did. Make sure you stay to the end of today's webinar because at the end, I'm going to show you how to get $1,150 worth of really useful retirement planning and profitable investing information for free, as well as a free copy of my Income for Life Blueprint Retirement Planning Guide. So, let's begin with why I developed the Income for Life Blueprint Retirement Planning System. Basically, it started when I joined the finance industry after leaving the Army. After a while of helping clients, I realized that the current system is broken. When I met with new clients, I noticed a pattern of people being invested in portfolios they didn't belong in, that people were paying high fees and they didn't need to pay, and that they had been sold products that they just didn't need. And to be honest, I got tired of seeing good, hardworking people lose their savings due to bad advice. So here are just a few stats that prove that the current system is broken. 44% of workers say that their number one retirement fear is outliving their savings. 33% say their fear is not having enough money to meet their family's financial needs. Now, the cost of living is increasing with every year that passes due to inflation. Healthcare costs are rising every year and eating up people's retirement savings. Retirees, they can expect to spend $250,000 on medical bills during their retirement. And people are living longer than they ever have before. It's not unusual for people to live another 25 years after they retire. And during that time, they're unemployed with no income. The average household with 55 to 64-year-olds has $104,000 in retirement savings. And it gets worse. Most faceless investment and insurance companies that deliver their service online or via the life-draining 1-800 numbers, they don't know the first thing about you or your personal situation. So how could they possibly give personalized help that ensures you have access to the right amount of money at the right time to achieve the goals that are important to you and your family? The simple answer is they can't, and they don't. Instead, they spew off their fancy sales jargon at you in an effort to bewilder you just enough to part you from your hard-earned money so they can rack up their fees. Even though one of the world's worst financial crises in history was only a few short years ago, the next market crash could be around the corner. So many people still put their faith in the same cookie-cutter investment funds, the 1-800 bank investment platforms, and faceless employer 401k providers, which is extremely worrying when you consider that these are the very same companies that lost millions of Americans almost their entire life savings during the last crash. And sadly, by the time they find out their faith was misplaced again, it's going to be too late. I really don't want you to suffer the same fate. Sure, everything is fine while the stock market is going up. After all, a rising tide, it raises all boats, right? But if you have not structured your portfolios to properly manage downside risk, then things won't look as good when the markets inevitably take a turn for the worse. So let's face it. As history has taught us time and time again, it's not only likely that another market crash will happen, it's almost guaranteed that another recession is on the horizon. It's always been a cycle. The markets boom, then they crash, over and over again. Yep, that means it's only a matter of time until the retirement-destroying day happens once again. And it shatters the next round of victims' dreams of a comfortable retirement. Now, in fact, in a recent Bloomberg interview, legendary investor and billionaire Jim Rogers said that there's a 100% chance of a U.S. recession within 1 year. He also went on to say that due to the current chaos in China, Japan, and Europe, we can expect even more strength to be added to this problem. And whether he's right about the time frame or not, it's not the point I'm making. The important thing to accept is that you can clearly see on this chart here, on average, the markets have a major correction every 4 to 7 years. Even just looking at the past 20 years, it happens over and over again. For example, look at the losses that started in 1999. They didn't fully recover until 2006. Then the financial markets started losing value again in 2007, and by 2008, we're experiencing one of the worst financial crashes in history. Many investors had 50% of their net worth decimated almost overnight, and the markets, they didn't fully recover until 2013. What concerns me is that now it's been over 8 years since the start of the last crash, and the markets are now higher than ever before, so it's only a matter of time until the next crash. And it may be sometime soon, and it may be bigger than the crash we've seen before. So the big question is, are everyday investors ready for violent market crashes this time around? Sure, some are, but sadly, most aren't. Are you well prepared for a market collapse? Or would it decimate your investment portfolio along with your dreams of retiring? And please be honest with yourself, because you might regret it if you're just kidding yourself, thinking that portfolio risk has been well managed. Here's my commitment to you. If you're someone who wants to retire comfortably, and you're serious about creating a comfortable retirement, then the next 30 minutes could change your life, literally. Here's how. By the end of this short presentation, I'll show you exactly how to utilize my 5-step dividend income investing blueprint that investors are using to make big profits in any market. Discover how everyday investors just like you are taking advantage of often misunderstood high-yielding investments to secure double-digit yields. Use dividend stocks to achieve true financial independence so you can finally stop worrying about running out of money during retirement. Or worse still, if you'll even have enough money to retire at all. You'll also learn how to use dividend income stocks to beat inflation and to future-proof your nest egg, even create a legacy portfolio that you pass on to your family. Okay, let's take a look at why I'm so passionate about creating real wealth using dividend income stocks, and most importantly, why you should be too. As you can see from this chart, there's no question that stocks are the best way to grow your wealth over time. When looking at real returns, bonds haven't even beaten inflation. Bills have done worse still. Gold is broken even. And cash, it's unsurprisingly decreased in value. So now we know stocks should be a vital part of your wealth accumulation and retirement planning strategy. The question is, are all stocks created equally? And the answer is absolutely not. And here's why. As you can see from this chart, between 1989 and 2014, dividend stocks outperformed the S&P index by an astounding 695%. This means if you'd invested $100,000 in the S&P, it would have returned $799,000, where the same $100,000 invested in these dividend stocks would have grown to almost $1.5 million. That's an extra $695,000 over the exact same period of time. all with less risk and lower income volatility. It's pretty impressive, right? Now let's explore why dividend stocks are so powerful. First, it's due to the effects of compounding interest. Dividend stocks can supercharge your wealth in a life-changing way, especially when you reinvest your dividends. Now, dividend investing can rake in profits and it can increase your income all at the same time. Not only that, but dividend income investing, it also reduces portfolio risk, volatility, and minimizes losses when markets decline. Not to mention that non-dividend investors are missing out on 41% of the profits that the market is handing out to investors on a silver platter. Now, dividend stocks can beat non-dividend stocks by 1.5 percentage points each and every month. This is huge when we consider the near magical effects of compound interest. Now, over any 17-year period, dividends have always beat inflation. And that's a claim that bonds just simply can't make. Now, honestly, I believe that if you want to replace financial worry and uncertainty with confidence and financial security, the only thing that stands between you and a 7-figure retirement portfolio is knowing which dividend stocks to buy and when to buy them. So now let's get into how to select great dividend stocks that can help you create real wealth and great income. The first thing you need to know is that you should be careful not to get caught up in the hype of trying to pick the next big thing or the fastest growing stock. Instead, look for established market leaders that have been in business a long time and have a history of stability and constant performance. Now, the next part is very important. When it comes to money you and your family will rely on for your future, remember to stay away from risky small companies and focus on the proven ones. There can be a place for growth stocks that carry more risk, but your retirement shouldn't depend on them. A rule of thumb I use is to consider the companies with a minimum of $500 million in market capital, but ideally, I'd like to see over $1 billion. The second thing to consider is to make sure you adopt the investing mindset of buying into great businesses and not just renting stocks for short-term profits. Although many day traders will probably seriously disagree with this, I personally agree with Warren Buffett when he suggests that you should invest in a business for the long term. After all, he's one of the wealthiest people alive and arguably the most successful investor of all time. Now, let's assume your objectives is long term, and so you're planning to create a lifetime of income for your retirement. Then every single investment decision is critical for you because of how important this long-term retirement goal is for both yourself and your family. So it only makes sense to take the time needed to research the companies you're about to invest in. Is this company one you can see yourself putting your hard-earned money into over the next 20, 30 years? Or do you see yourself getting nervous and selling out as soon as the stock market drops 20%? I mean, for such an important financial goal, you need to be looking at companies that you feel will help you reach that goal. You need a business you can trust that gets you where you need to be. And remember, the intrinsic fundamental value of a great company, it doesn't change just because the stock market drops. These companies often still sell the same number of products and make the same amount of profit in a down market as they do in a rising market. This means you should look for truly great companies with business models that you can understand. Take the time needed to understand where the business sits financially and how it's able to operate in today's economic climate. If you do enough research on the company yourself, you'll get a fairly good idea of whether it's a good stock to buy or not. Now, for example, a few indicators of good company are long tenure of the senior management. If they've been there a long time, it usually means it's very stable and that consistently they're achieving their goals and that shareholders are satisfied with the job that they're doing. Another good indicator is when you see a 5% insider ownership of the stock. Put it this way, no one knows the strength of a company better than the people who are running it. So if it's good enough for those guys to keep putting their money into, it's a good sign it might be a solid investment for you. This is all information that's available online. One other thing I look for in a sign of good management is a return on equity. With this measure, the higher the better. But as a general rule, I look for 12 to 15% ROE. Just one quick warning on this. You need to watch out for a few sneaky little accounting tricks to ensure that it's not been artificially driven up by the company leveraging up their debt. If a company's debt ratio has increased along with the return on equity, then obviously the company will have more money as it's taken in lots of debt. But this could have potentially long-term consequences. So just make sure you do your proper research on how they've achieved that figure rather than just trying to do a simple filter in your brokerage account. So the third thing to look for when finding great dividend stocks and companies is that they have a strong competitive advantage. These can include high barriers to entry or moats for competitors, things like patents on products or services that only they can sell. Also, dominant market share, which makes it very hard for newcomers to dramatically impact their sales volume. For example, if a new beverage company releases, a cola drink, it's very unlikely that a small startup's sales volume is going to ever impact Coca-Cola's revenue and profits. So another great competitive advantage is a high profit margin. This means that companies can spend more money with their competitors than their competitors, on advertising, sales, and new product innovations, which all lead to ever increasing revenue and then profits. And more importantly, higher dividends for investors like you and me. One last metric that I include as strong competitive advantage is consistently high return on investment capital, ROIC. This is their net operating profits after taxes, and it's basically a measure of how much money the company's making compared to their debt. And obviously, the more money they make, the more they have available to distribute to investors like, you and I. And due to competition, it's very hard for any company to maintain a high ROIC. So companies that achieve this usually have great management and are strong market leaders. Now, one quick caution. Just like you can't use normal brokerage accounts for researching return on equity, you're also going to need to do proper research on the ROIC. As a brokerage account filter usually only gives current figures, and really what you need is to check the historical performance to ensure consistency. At the end of the day, a company can only pay its shareholders dividends if they have the money to do so. So secret number 4 is to make sure the business has strong financials. You need to start by making sure that they have strong cash flow and solid cash reserves. For example, companies like Apple, they have a ton of cash reserves, as well as consistently high sales revenue. So this is a great sign that they'll have no problem paying their dividends. But you also need to watch out for companies that are paying dividends that are too high. So this could be a sign that they're trying to lure investors in with unusually high returns because they need the cash flow. This can be a sign of trouble. So you should run for the hills if you see this happening. Now, generally, I look for stocks that are offering a 50% or below dividend payout ratio, and they're still providing 3% or more dividend yield to their actual investors. Now, the last but not least is secret number 5, and that's finding stocks that offer the holy grail of dividend investing. And these are the companies that offer a high dividend yield and have an undervalued stock price. When these two things happen together, the company is poised for a surge in their stock price as well as a great dividend income. So as nice as it is to have income from dividends, it's even better if you can have the income on top of a great capital gain as well. Now, one of the easiest ways to establish whether a company's stock is undervalued is to compare its current price to earning ratio, often called its P/E ratio, with their own historical P/E ratio. Then once you've established that it could be undervalued based on its previous price, then the next thing to do is check how it compares to the P/E ratio of the peers. For example, if a company usually has a P/E of around 17 and today it's 11, then as long as there's no permanent problem causing this drop, then it may very well be a great time to buy stock, so you can make a nice capital gain as it returns to its usual P/E range. In summary, if you do your due diligence on carefully selecting undervalued dividend stocks, you can get amazing capital growth while increasing your income all at the same time. Now, let's take a quick look at why now is the perfect time to buy dividend stocks. As you can see here, these special dividend stocks have consistently outperformed non-dividend stocks by an enormous amount, decade after decade. And, that's why plain old-fashioned dividend stocks are the key to racking up serious wealth. Just ask any professional investor. For time periods of 3 years or more, it's hard to make a case for bonds over stocks, especially when you consider that, for periods of 17 years or more, stocks have always beat inflation. Acclaimed bonds, they can't make. So it's important to remember that your money has to last until the day you pass away, not the day you retire. So even if you're 60 years old today and you're retiring in a few years, just remember that due to medical advances, average life expectancy is consistently increasing. There is a good chance that out of a married couple, one of you is going to live until you're 85. So that means your money has got to support you for 25 years of unemployment after you retire. Now, reinvesting dividend income is one of the most powerful wealth accumulation strategies available to you. So let's look at an example and we'll assume the following. An initial investment of $1,000 in a dividend paying stock. The share price increases by 2% a year. The starting dividend yield in year one is 4%, and the annual dividend growth of 4%. And so here's what the chart looks like. The blue line represents what return you would achieve if you left the capital investment, but withdrew all the dividends. The red line represents what would happen if you reinvested your 4% dividends for the duration, and the green line represents what would happen if you reinvested your dividends, and those dividends also increased by an additional 4% each year, which great dividend stocks have historically done. Now, you could make nearly 8,000% more profit by reinvesting your dividend income over that 31 years. Now, imagine if you were 55 years old today and that you lived to be 81. That's 31 years. Just think what a difference that kind of return could make to your long-term financial security. Now, this strategy is so powerful that it can create multi-generational wealth due to the size of the inheritance that you may be able to leave behind to your loved ones. Now, in 2015, the Government Accountability Office did a study on the reality of people's retirement savings, and their findings were a little bit sobering. They found that the median amount of those savings is about $104,000 for households with members between 55 and 64 years old, and $148,000 for households with members 65 to 74-year-olds. Now, that's an equivalent to an inflation-protected annuity of $310 to $649 per month, respectively, according to the GAO. Now, here's what Anthony Webb, the senior researcher economist at the Center of Retirement Research at Boston College, had to say when he reviewed the GAO report. He says, I don't care what anyone says, that's not enough for retirement. Here's the good news. There is a better way. Now, you remember at the beginning of today's presentation, I asked you which of these items, the drink, the shoe, or the phone, that could provide you with an income for the rest of your life? Well, the answer is all of them. As I mentioned earlier, simple items like these are providing a select group of retirees with a secure, predictable retirement income that keeps up with or even outpaces inflation. And, it's a secure lifetime income that, they just can't outlive no matter how long they live. Now, you're probably wondering how. Well, think about this. All of us have disposable income. Most people get their paycheck each month, and a percentage of that goes towards driving fancy cars or going to the movies, buying clothes, candy, magazines, Starbucks, going out to dinner, whatever, things like that. Now, imagine if you personally made a little bit of extra money every time one of those millions of people spent their disposable income on these things. Well, that's exactly what happens when you own a tiny little piece of companies like Starbucks, Nike, Apple, and that tiny little piece is called a dividend-paying share. Now, when you own a share of Apple, you literally own a tiny piece of the company and its profits. If you own these types of shares, life gets very interesting because every time you see someone walking down the street with a new iPhone or drinking a Starbucks coffee, you can smile, knowing that that person just gave you a small amount of money because you literally own part of that company. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki. Have you guys read that book? It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. In the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he talks about that difference between assets and liabilities. He said that poor people buy liabilities. They buy cars, they buy boats, they buy the latest tech gadgets, the things that you put money into and then the money disappears over time. Well, by contrast, rich people, they put their money into investments that actually turn into more money for them. All it takes for you to become wealthy is for you to do the same thing that the rich people do, and that means using your money to buy investments that turn into more money. Over time, you simply take some of your own disposable income or some of your savings and you divert it into dividend stocks, as opposed to wasting that money on something that's going to take the money away from you. Instead of blowing your money on depreciating items, I'm asking you to make an investment in your future, because the money you put into good dividend stocks is ultimately going to turn into more money for later. But as good as dividend stocks are, they certainly aren't the only thing you need in your retirement portfolio. To be truly financially secure, you also need some diversification with different investment types in different asset classes. Now ask yourself this: why are you watching this presentation today? You know that to retire wealthy, you have to invest in great dividend stocks, but you aren't an experienced investor and you don't know which stocks are the true gems versus the profit-killing duds that are masked as good companies. You feel like the hardest part of creating wealth with dividend income investing is knowing where to start or who to trust. Your portfolio, it might have been decimated by the last market crash, and you're scared to death that it'll happen again when the next crash happens, which we know could be soon. You keep putting off important retirement planning and investing decisions because, well, you're worried to make the wrong decisions. If you take nothing else away from today's presentation, just remember this. Every single day that you delay getting started with your retirement planning, it is literally costing you major profits. And it's lowering your potential retirement income. And quite honestly, delay is the single biggest risk to your retirement success. So now you know that you've got to do something. You want to enjoy a comfortable retirement. I'd like to introduce you to my income for life strategy. This is my proprietary retirement planning strategy that I have painstakingly developed and refined over the years since I've been helping people secure both their retirement and their family's financial future. Now, I believe that serving others and helping them create financial independence is what I was put here to do. So perfecting this strategy for my clients is not something I've taken lightly. I consider my clients to be my friends. So this is, a responsibility that I take seriously. So what now? Well, if you're serious about securing your future and you want safe, predictable growth, guaranteed income, maximum returns on income, prevent or reduce losses when markets decline, eliminate stress, worry, and confusion of financial planning, some good old-fashioned customer service instead of those life-draining 1-800 numbers, honest, reliable advice from a professional that puts your personal interests before their earnings, we might be a perfect fit to work together. So we'll start with a free of charge 30 to 60 minute telephone consultation. We'll figure out if the strategy is right for you. We'll cover things like, where are you now? Where do you want to get? Can you get there? How will you get there? Once you have a plan, how will you stay on track? Once we've established whether the strategy is right for you or not, we'll move on to step 2. We'll complete an A to Z audit of your situation so our team can find the perfect mix of products to help you achieve your personal goals. We'll do all the heavy lifting. We do all the research, dig through countless dividend stocks, bonds, and annuities to find the best of each product, saving you literally months of work. We'll help you review, complete any paperwork, and file any applications to help you get it right the first time and to avoid confusions and any mistakes that might come about. And we're going to do a regular review meeting to stay on track. We're with you for the long haul. Here's some of the things we'll cover during your free consultation. How to create a guaranteed fixed income that you can't outlive with a special income ladder that can guarantee fixed income without stock market risk, allowing you to budget and spend your money enjoying retirement and competence. How to achieve true financial independence for the rest of your life, so you can finally stop worrying about running out of money and having to live out your retirement in fear. Clever strategies to grow your retirement fund tax-free. Using this strategy, you may even be able to receive from your retirement income tax-free too. This can have a major impact on the net amount of money that you spend enjoying life each month. A surefire way to safely and predictably grow your wealth. Even when the markets are dropping, this special retirement optimization strategy helps you maximize returns and income while reducing portfolio volatility and minimizing losses when markets decline. We'll also go over this 160-year-old wealth building method. It's so effective at producing great returns with very little risk that it's used by some of the wealthiest people in the country. I make these reserved for the rich methods available to all of my clients. And you know what? Here's the best part. The Income for Life Blueprint is not designed around any single type of investment. Dividend stocks will form an important part of your overall retirement strategy, but we'll use special bond ladders with varying maturity dates to get optimal returns. You may use combined annuity ladders to provide up to 31% or more of guaranteed income for life. And, we'll have investment options that can benefit from market growth without any downside risk. And your personal Income for Life Blueprint will be 100% tailored to your family's goals. So the bottom line, even if we never work together, you'd still walk away with a step-by-step retirement blueprint just for attending the free consultation session. So I'm sure you'd agree, probably still be the best 30 minutes you've ever spent planning for your retirement. I honestly want you to achieve your financial goals, whether we work together or not. So if you book now, you'll also get these free bonuses just for attending the free consultation. They'll be yours to keep and to use no matter what the outcome of our call together. So here's what you'll get if you book now for your free consultation. You'll get your free income for life blueprint retirement plan. This will be your personalized investment portfolio created specifically for you based on your needs and goals. The free investor risk profile designed for your personal goals. We will design a risk profile based on your individual risk tolerance to provide the guidelines to building an investment portfolio that you'll be comfortable and confident with. You'll get a free 401k and IRA review. I'll personally review a 401k and IRA investment plans to be sure that it's capable of complementing your personalized portfolio, and I'll help you make any adjustments needed to better increase your return that you're receiving from your current employer plan. You're going to get the free top picks dividend stock report. I will provide you with a list of preferred dividend paying stocks. This list has been compiled by 2,000 of the best analysts in the world, and that's a total of $1,150 worth of profitable, life-changing information. Yours free, just for allowing me to help you. That's how much I want you to succeed. So imagine what your life would be like when you can stop worrying about if you'll have enough money to retire. You can enjoy your golden years and spend your money with confidence. You can finally stop worrying, about running out of money during retirement, and you can sleep easy at night knowing that your family will always be okay. Imagine how proud you would feel if you built a quality legacy dividend income portfolio that passed on to your loved ones so it could provide income and financial security for future generations. So the million-dollar question is, what will you do now? The way I see it is you have 3 potentially life-defining choices to make today. You could do nothing. Just keep delaying the decision to secure your retirement until tomorrow. But as we all know, tomorrow never comes. You can take the information that you've learned today and go it alone, assuming that you're prepared to thoroughly research hundreds of companies and apply what you've learned. Then if you have a job or you're retired and want to focus on important things in life, you can schedule a free, no obligation income for life review meeting. During this meeting, we'll make sure that you and your family have taken advantage of all the financial opportunities that are available to you. We'll create your personalized income for life blueprint, which will ensure you achieve your goals. Now, look, while we're still working every single month or every 2 weeks, you get a paycheck, right? So the cool thing is that you get that paycheck, you go out, you pay your bills, you buy your groceries, you have your disposable income, you spend that money, and the money disappears. Then what happens 2 weeks later? You get paid again. The money replenishes itself every 2 weeks or every month, but your time, it just never comes back. So yeah, you can go figure out how to select the best dividend stocks and bonds and annuity ladders, and you can create true wealth on your own. But ask yourself this: will you honestly make the time to do all the research, the trial and the error? Think about it. This research is time that you're never going to get back, ever. It's time that you can be spent with your family. It's time that could be spent enjoying life. So here's my proposition for you. Let me shoulder the responsibility of this time commitment on your behalf. I'll put my time in ensuring your family gets on track financially, and even more of my time ensuring you stay on track. This is what I do every day of my life. It's what I love, and without trying to sound too arrogant, it's what I'm really, really good at. So I want to ask you another question. You've probably been on these kinds of webinars or to retirement seminars in the past, right? You get excited, you get fired up, and then what happens the next day? You probably nothing for most of you. And that's sad, because I just showed you guys the exact system I'm using right now to help my clients retire comfortably and achieve true financial independence. But still, some of you are going to go back to your normal routine tomorrow and not do anything. The reason why is because of old habits. They're hard to break. You're going to go back to your life the next day and you're in the exact same habits, just like many people have done for every single one of the past 40 or 50 years. They've always known that they need to get on plan and prepare for their retirement, yet they still haven't done it. The only way you're going to be successful is if we figure out a way to break that habit right now. The way you're going to break that habit, it's by clicking the link, booking your free consultation session right now. Then, I can come and I can guide you through the entire process step by step. I can help you and give you all the tools you need to break the habit so you can become financially successful and achieve the retirement lifestyle that you've sacrificed so much for. But because it's human nature to delay confusing and complicated things, I'm honestly worried that if you don't book right now, then you're going to slide back into your old exact habits. If this happens, everything we did for the last hour here, it'll be wasted. So the only way to break that is to book right now. Let me help you make sure you and your family are on track and getting the best possible shot at a comfortable retirement. So please, visit my website, www.incomeforlifeblueprint.com/free consultation right now and schedule your free strategy session. Think of it this way. For the last hour or so, we've shared a ton of information with you. But as you know, information alone is not going to help you. You know that you need to make the right investing decisions for the rest of your life because that's what's going to help you to achieve your dream retirement. So if you're serious about finally creating real wealth, then visit the webpage listed below at the bottom of this slide. So let's start working together and let's make this happen. When you retire, you shouldn't be worrying about running out of money. You should spend your time enjoying your dream retirement lifestyle. For some people, that means finally getting out, to play golf a few times per week or buying that beach house or sports car you've always dreamed of. For others, it might mean traveling the world or spending quality time with family or maybe even having the ability to financially help out their children and their grandchildren. But whatever success means to you personally, if you know you don't have time to keep putting this off, if you're ready to take action and secure your family's financial future after all, and you'd like my help to achieve your financial goals and finally say goodbye to the stress and worry of planning a successful retirement, then please just go ahead and book your free consultation at the below webpage. I'm totally committed to helping you secure your financial future. Are you ready to commit your own future? If so, book your free no obligation consultation and let's see if we're a good fit for each other. And don't worry, this will not be some hard sell sales pitch. I only want to work with people that want my help. So if the strategy isn't right for you, you can rest assured that I'll be the first one to tell you that. But a quick word of warning. Because I give every client a very personal service, and there are only so many hours in the day, this means that my time is limited. So please remember that I will help people on a first come, first served basis. So please book earlier to avoid missing out. Here's how confident I am that you'll find a lot of value in the free consultation. If our free retirement review process doesn't help you create a comprehensive retirement plan that will improve your situation and get you closer to achieving your goals, then I'll give you $50 for wasting your time. I'm serious. As long as you're committed to working with me to develop a financial plan that will help you achieve all of your financial goals, then if you feel I've wasted your time, I'll write you a check for $50 out of my own pocket. So you literally have nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's how committed I am to your financial success. How can I offer this guarantee? Well, it's simple. No one has ever asked me for the money because they've all found value in, this free service. And I'd love to be of service to you and your family as well. So book now. You'll get the free Income for Life retirement plan, your free investor risk profile designed for your personal goals, the 401k and IRA review, and the free Top Picks Dividend Stock Report. That's a total value of almost $1,200. It's all free if you just book today. Okay, well, this is it. The webinar is over. Thank you all so much for your time. I really hope you've enjoyed the presentation and that you found value in the time we've spent together. If you haven't already done so, please go sign up for the free consultation right now while there are still places available. You can either click on the bottom or you can book on the webpage listed below. Either way, I really look forward to speaking with you soon. Goodbye for now.